Good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am your host, Starbuck, and with me, finally today, we have our co-host, Jimmy the Shoe. Say hi, Jimmy.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land.
This is our inaugural, is that right? No, inaugural is like first yearly, right? This is our first ever episode of See Last Issue. We are going to be going over some comic books that we read this week and some suggestions for you and just kind of some things that you'll want to be looking at. Today's episode is going to focus on Marvel Unlimited. So, you Marvel heads out there, this one's for you. But first, we're going to go ahead and cue our music and then we'll be right back. Oh, we've got some answers that we need from Jimmy the Shoe here. So we'll be right back with you. And welcome to See Last Issue. I'm your host, Starbuck.
And I'm Jimmy the Shoe.
And we're here to talk comics. But first, we, as in the listeners and I, we have some questions as to where exactly you were last week, Jimmy, when we were supposed to be introducing you to all of our listeners. You ran me all over town, Central City. I had to stop at a couple of different bars over several hours. I don't even know how you move around that quickly around that town.
Well, it really helps if you know the shortcuts around the town, whether it's through the subways, across the building tops, or
across the building tops?
Well, you know, if you could run and jump from building to building, that's more of a metaphor of skipping around town.
Sure, of course. Yeah, that would definitely get you around town faster.
Yeah, but yeah, I apologize for not being here last week. I really wanted to meet up with you guys. My hands were tied for a bit at the first bar. I couldn't get out. Eventually, I was on my way to the next bar, and I got stuck in a kind of a sticky situation that took a while to dissolve.
Awesome. I mean, man, I have so many questions about that. But let's first, we're going to talk about some comic books. We're going to keep this episode kind of short, just kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about today. On today's pod, we're going to talk about the now classic Garth Ennis run on Punisher in 2000. We're going to touch base on Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Daredevil #1, Immortal Hulk #1, Uncanny X-Men #1. These are all books that you can get on Marvel Unlimited right now. Most of the #1 issues have launched in the last couple of months. So these are brand new starting on points or jumping on points for new readers. So definitely check it out. Jimmy, what was the first thing you read?
I read The Punisher.
The Punisher. Now, just to give you guys a little background on this, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy here is not maybe as long time a fan of comic books as I am. He showed an interest, and I was like, all right, I'm going to make you do this. So this was a special assignment. I recommended that we read some of the Punisher from 2000 and Marvel Unlimited, or on Marvel Unlimited. And what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I pretty much came from knowing the Punisher from the old movie.
Sure.
As well as the hit Netflix show.
Oh, right.
Really enjoyed that, and so I was excited to dive into the comics and see what it was really about.
What did you, how did you feel as, in comparison between, maybe the more recently, the Netflix rather than the old Dolph Lundgren? How did you feel it stacked up compared to, what you already know?
It's held up pretty well. I mean, it is a superhero comic book,
sure.
So him walking around in that black Punisher suit
seems like it'd be awfully damn hot, wouldn't it?
Seemed awfully hot, and definitely would cause a lot of chafing. That's why I mostly use baby powder.
Yeah,
is what I hear people use for those type of suits.
I would imagine so.
But maybe that's why he's so angry all the time.
Has nothing to do with his kid, and his wife being murdered. But yeah, one of those things, the reason that I picked that book in particular is that the Punisher became one of my favorite characters because of that book. Garth Ennis, who is now becoming, superstar with the Preacher television show. He wrote the original Preacher for Vertigo Comics. He did this run of Punisher. He was famous for The Boys, which is now a hit Amazon Prime show. And if you haven't seen The Boys, like, you absolutely have to. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's friggin' awesome.
Oh, definitely.
But the, you know, and I point to our listeners, I just read today that Garth Ennis is going back to the Punisher in like 3 months. So they're doing a 6-part Punisher miniseries. And the great thing about the way Garth Ennis writes, and you know, if you go back to this old 2000 series, Steve Dillon was the artist on it. And I remember thinking for years, like, I don't know why Steve Dillon does all this stuff. Like, I'm not a huge fan. His art style was always kind of like, to me. But then I realized, like, nobody else does gore in like modern comics. Like, if you go to like Marvel DC, there's nobody that's like, you know, drawing people's insides coming out of them on a regular basis except Steve Dillon when he works with Garth Ennis. So, that was one of the things that I liked about it. I thought it really brought like the Punisher into, you know, a great weird light where he's not just the Punisher. He's not just angry. He's angry and he's kind of like dark and twisted too. Also on that note, right after you read this, Jimmy, so this was a 12-part maxi series to begin with. Read it, and then after you're done reading it, read Punisher Born. It's a 4-part mini series that tells the origin of Punisher, and it gives him kind of a mythical background where he's not just like an angry dude. Like, there might be darker, deeper things going on there, so it's absolutely worth reading.
That sounds good. Yeah, I read the first 3 comics of this series and wanted to read more.
Yeah, he texts me. He's like, I want to read more of that. I'm like, read more of it. It's good. We also did some of the newer books that have recently launched on Marvel Unlimited. The first one that we were supposed to do, I said Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I read it, but I don't think Jimmy did. So, just to talk a little bit about it, if you are a new reader and you like the Guardians of the Galaxy because you've seen them in the movies and you think they're funny, this book is for you. It's got a great art style. Groot is, you know, once and always, you know, a constant form of entertainment and laughs in the book. But I really like the art style. It's a first issue. And the first issues come with all their regular caveats, which is that, you know, they're trying to like launch a story out of nothing, and they can tend to drag on and not be as entertaining as, you know, books a few issues in. It does suffer from some of those, but I definitely recommend checking it out. What else did you read, Jimmy? Daredevil. Okay, then Daredevil is one of the ones that you wanted to read, right? You were interested in Daredevil. Yeah. So what did you think of Daredevil?
I really like the story of Daredevil. Once again, I'm mostly familiar with the hit Netflix TV series.
Sure.
We're not getting any promotion.
Yeah, no, we're not getting paid by anyone, trust us.
By each time saying Netflix. But if Netflix was interested, we could.
Right, absolutely. We would certainly wouldn't mind a sponsor by Netflix.
Yeah.
Not that they have any of these shows playing anymore, but they've canceled all of them.
Yes. Hello, Disney Plus.
Hey, Disney, how are you doing? But yeah.
I really like the story of Daredevil, and it's cool to see.
Sorry, that lady over there is she's being a little crazy. Let's give her some applause. Good job, lady. All right.
She's trying to be a ventriloquist or
something like that. All right. Sorry, we're doing this in a bar, so you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, you were saying about Daredevil.
And thanks again for meeting me in this bar. I've been pretty busy, and
clearly
in between places right now.
You pick obviously weird places to do things, man. Like, I would never have even walked in here had I not been, you know, told by my GPS that this is the right place. So, here we are though, in the lost bar.
I'm surprised your GPS found it. Usually they,
I know, yeah.
They kind of short out around it.
Yeah, we get lost, yeah. I've heard that about this place. But Daredevil.
I really like Daredevil. And it's really cool to see somebody with a disability. I think it would help a lot to
Sure.
see that. And he's a hero. He kicks a lot of ass.
He does kick a lot. I feel like he got his ass kicked a lot in this episode, though.
He did.
I mean, he literally like almost got taken out by like Bank Robber 1 and Bank Robber 2 or whatever it was.
He didn't see it coming.
Well, I mean, you know, he's the man without fear. He's not the man without any sight. I like this book too. I liked it primarily because I think it's a great jumping on point. Marvel #1's have a tendency to kind of drag on, and reference things that you really have no idea what's going on. If you haven't been reading Daredevil recently, Wilson Fisk has been the mayor of the city. Matt Murdock was almost killed. I think he got hit by a train or a bus or something like that, which I feel like he should have seen that one coming, but all the same, it's a good stepping on point because it's a place where our hero is also kind of starting fresh. And I think that those are always really good spots.
It didn't feel like really number one. It continued a story forward and just kind of did brief glimpses at the past.
Yeah.
I kind of know
without bogging it down.
Yeah.
I felt like, I agree. And I always like it when we get the flashbacks. In that issue, we got flashbacks of like his dad and his Catholic upbringing. And so, for this, Matt Murdock to be a young man, impressionable young man that kind of is going through what he is, and he has the pressure of the church and things like that, and then to kind of take on this visage of the devil. I just think that there's a lot of symbolism there, and I think that the writers are really going to keep playing with that kind of stuff. So I think that'll be really great. Did you read The Hulk?
Well, let's slow down. Let's go back to Daredevil.
Oh, we're so okay.
You're moving along too fast.
All right. All right, back to Daredevil.
I really liked how they visualized his sonar radar ability.
Yeah.
With,
and those couple of scenes where it's like it's all that, and like, and I've seen that drawn a million different ways by different artists, and that was a really cool way. I found my eyes got lost in it a little bit. Like I had to stop, focus, figure out what I was looking at in some of the panels.
And I think it's whoever drew that and did a great job.
You think that was kind of intentional?
I think that was intentional.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'd probably say my favorite thing of Daredevil and the entire story is when he got in that accident and those chemicals caused him to gain extra sensory abilities. They went down in the sewer and made the Ninja Turtles.
You think so? I mean, that would be the secret of the ooze right there.
Secret of the ooze, that's where it came from.
Right, okay.
Ninja Turtles fight the foot, and Daredevil fights the hand.
That I have put that together before, yeah.
And then Splinter, and then Daredevils.
And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure, in DC right now, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are, hopping around with Batman in Gotham right now. So, they're just all over the place.
And I think it came from the people that created Daredevil left and went and made Ninja Turtles after that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, I think. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go back over my origins.
But I mean, I could also see Stan Lee creating the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That totally.
Yeah, I don't think it was the actual creators. Maybe somebody that worked on Daredevil.
Okay.
Left and then made the Ninja Turtles.
I like it.
I know I spent many times in sewers looking for creatures that may have.
You spent a lot of time in the sewers, have you?
Well, not exactly in the sewer. I'll look down grates and then.
Oh, sure.
Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I may take a quick tour through one. I mean, it's,
right. Naturally, I mean, who doesn't do?
As long as you don't touch the gray water, you're fine.
Right, and I mean, who doesn't have a little bit of curiosity about a sewer tunnel?
Yeah, and then you can find some really neat stuff down there. I mean, half the furniture in my apartment's from the sewers.
That explains a lot about your apartment. Well, and that's fantastic. Thanks, Jimmy, for that wonderful take on Daredevil. When you were in the sewers, you didn't find any of this ooze, did you?
I tried some, but it wasn't ooze. It was mostly feces.
Okay. All right. Moving on. The Hulk. Did you read the Immortal Hulk?
I did not.
Okay. So I read the Immortal Hulk when it first released in monthlies because I was really stoked about this book. I today went through and reread it again because it's been a minute, and that book is incredible, and I urge you to read it. It's not incredible; it's immortal. The Immortal Hulk #1 is really like taking the Hulk back to like really its roots, because a lot of people don't, especially folks our age and whatnot, don't recognize that the Hulk was originally a horror comic. The whole premise was that like Peter Parker was cursed by Peter Parker. Yeah, you know, that guy. Bruce Banner was cursed by this Hulk persona, and that's really what's happening in this book. And he literally comes back to life at midnight as the Hulk. So like, in this book, you watch Bruce Banner get murdered, and you're just like, oh, it's 2 pages into the book. But it's alright, because the Hulk comes back at midnight to get revenge. And it's pretty badass.
Really?
Yeah, like it's each issue starts out with like a quote from like, you know, like H.P. Lovecraft or something that's like, you know, when you look deep inside the devil looks back at you, or, you know, something like that. Each one of them has kind of a dark quote before going into what's effectively a horror story for the Hulk in every issue.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's Bruce Banner's horror story, basically.
Because recently with Hulk in the older Hulk movies and him in the Avengers,
sure.
You know, I always really liked the Hulk. I didn't like where he went from being only Bruce Banner and not being able to transform into being like Hulk all the time, but still super smart.
Well, and then there's Grey Hulk and Red Hulk,
and, yeah.
Planet Scar Hulk.
Exactly.
Like,
I like horror stories.
Yeah, and so do I, and that's a big thing. Like, I like horror movies, I like horror stories, and this is, if you like that kind of stuff, it's meant with that kind of pacing involved. Like, when you read this, like, you want to turn down the lights just a little bit, and you can do that because you're reading a digital comic on your iPad or whatnot, and just enjoy the pacing of like an old time horror story, and that's something I really appreciate. So definitely, and all the covers are incredible. They've got like Alex Ross covers and stuff, so they're all these beautiful oil painted covers. So definitely, listeners, go out and check out, you know, subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, subscribe to DC Universe, but on Marvel Unlimited, check out this Immortal Hulk run. I don't know how much longer it's going to be around as they start rebranding things for this new era of Marvel, but right now it's there and it's absolutely worth your time.
I really like the digital platform. I was a little hesitant at first wanting to hold physical paper comics.
Yeah, it took me a long time.
But then having the you know, high definition pictures and images, and
then the colors pop, and you know, it's I have a closet full of long boxes, and the problem is, like, who wants to pull out 80 issues of, you know, your favorite run of Wolverine or something, pull each one of them out of the bag, undo the tape, go through, you know, risk damaging them over whatever is happening in our day-to-day lives in our home, and you know, I can leave the closet closed and I can just pull up the iPad and I've got them all at the tips of my fingers. So I really enjoy the platform. I also like DC Universe because I like watching the shows. You know, you and I both watch Titans and Swamp Thing, and Doom Patrol is incredible. Make sure you're watching Doom Patrol. But yeah, and you didn't read Uncanny X-Men either.
Not yet. Is that... Where does this take place in X-Men? What's the difference between all the other Uncanny X-Men?
That's a good question. So, how do I simplify this for a really short elevator speech here? So in current continuity, right now, we'll just say that the existing Uncanny... Whoa. It's like the whole place just went quiet.
Was that guy that just walked in? Everyone's just staring at him.
No, I think there's the mic, and let's bring that back. There, okay. There we go. Yeah, the mic was just going out. Okay. So yeah, one of the things that I've kind of learned to do with X-Men, as you can see, like sitting behind you right here, I have my shelves of X-Men omnibuses and whatnot, and each one is a different era and author and all of that, and it's hard to figure out, like, where do I start? What do I have to know going in? Honestly speaking, to new readers, I like this Uncanny X-Men #1 that's on Marvel Unlimited right now, but it's not the jumping on point that I would recommend. Primarily just because that book is coming to a quick conclusion. It has just ended in existing continuity. I think the last issue came out last month. And we've gone into now Jonathan Hickman, who's famous for his work on the Fantastic Four and many others, is kind of taking over the entire X-Men franchise. So that includes like all of the X groups, X-Men, Excalibur, X-Force, you name it. And they're working on 2 maxi series right now, called House of X and Powers of X. And those, you'll see those on Marvel Unlimited in about 4 months. And I would just stick around and wait for those. If you're looking for a jumping on point with X-Men, that's the place, because effectively they're getting rid of all old continuity, and Hickman's just running a single narrative through everything.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice.
I know I always wanted to get into comics, but didn't have a lot of friends that were into it and never really knew where to start off.
Right.
I'd always just go and look for issue number 1 somewhere, but sometimes they have number 1s you don't want to read, or...
Yeah, and that's part of the problem that the comic industry has had for years, is that, they try to market that way. Like, throw a number 1 on it and everyone will buy it. And that's the thing, like, we have gotten wise to that. We know that that's not really a starting on point, and you're going to end that series in 6 issues, and I'm going to have to figure out where to start somewhere else. So that's another great feature of Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe, is you can start anywhere you want. If you're a completionist, you can start at X-Men number 1, and you can move all the way through, Uncanny X-Men in the 600s or whatever they are, if you go with the regular numbering. But but right now, what's on Marvel Unlimited is the end of the Uncanny X-Men run. It goes about 12-ish, no, it goes about 20 issues, I think. And then it ends, and then the Jonathan Hickman stuff starts. I've gotten the first issue of the Jonathan Hickman book, and it's good, but it definitely, it feels different. It's like the X-Men are basically rejoining humanity as gods upon Earth, and it's going to be an interesting place to start. He's also spinning out all of the other X books. He won't be doing just X-Men. He'll be doing X-Men Excalibur, which is kind of like very medieval themed, like, superhero, but it's got cool heroes. It's got Gambit in it. I think it's going to be fun. I did subscribe to that. There's one called Marauders. That sounds, I didn't get it. Good. It does. It sounds cool, but it's straight up superheroes on the sea. Like, they have a ship and they're on the ocean and superheroing. Which I don't really know how that works. I feel like most of them can fly and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Aquaman has a place now if he was in the
right, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can just hang out on the Marauder ship. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline with X-Men. So, like, if you're not die hard to, get into the X-Men right now, then I would expect that in about 5 months you're going to have your best opportunity with the new Hickman stuff.
That's awesome. We'll have to get into that.
Yeah, so I think that's about all the books we were going to talk about today. Jimmy, do you have anything to tell us? I've been kind of curious, and I've been telling the audiences, I really want to get everyone get to know you. And of course I do most of the talking, but I'd still like to know, where'd you get the name Jimmy the Shoe?
I've kept that a secret for a long time.
Oh, okay. This is kind of like a trade secret.
It's kind of a trade secret, kind of like a personal family.
Oh, okay.
Deep roots and deep connections to it. But I feel like you and the audience deserve to know who I actually am.
Well, that's awesome.
So, it all started a really long time ago.
Okay.
And at one point, I got the name Jimmy the Shoe.
Okay.
And here we are now. I go by Jimmy the Shoe.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. So you've had the name since you were a kid.
A child? Yes. I spent a couple extra years as a child, more than is normally scientifically possible.
Okay.
That's a different story for another day.
Okay, well, awesome. So you've had the name a long time.
Yeah, I've had the name a long time and went through various variations of it, depending on which country I was in at the time.
Oh, can you tell us any of the other ones?
Jaime Zapato was my Spanish name.
Oh, okay. Jaime Zapato. So now when I introduce you, I'll be like, this is Jimmy the Shoe, a.k.a. Jaime Zapato.
Yeah, it was pretty popular in the wrestling league in Mexico City.
Oh, man, I've just got so many more questions. But hey, let's leave those for next week. I want to thank everyone for listening from...
Okay. What are we going to read next week?
Man, you're killing me, Sir Smalls.
Should we discuss that?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm open to anything throughout September.
Okay.
As October hits, I start to like go down a darker path. Horror, scary, getting closer to Halloween.
Oh, okay. Like I get that.
Books.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we have DC Unlimited too, so we got all the darkness we need. Yeah, absolutely. So. For next week, what I'd like to look at doing would be clearly another like classic series. Do you have someone in particular that you're interested in covering?
I'm open to them all. It's getting my feet wet with these couple comics. I'm ready to jump full bore into the comic pool.
Awesome. Well, the comic pool like sounds like something I'd see on The Boys, and that makes me feel weird. But so yeah, let's do. Oh man, what should I do? Do we want to do Marvel or DC? We want to do DC the next week?
Yeah, let's mix it up. We could do DC and
okay.
Get the DC fans out there something to listen to.
Okay, so let's. I mean, we want to do classic. Do you know Hush?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna do Batman Hush. So for next week, folks, we'll bring you some other books too, but, if you want to read along with us, and if you want to send us suggestions of things to read, send them to clastissue@gmail.com, address it to Jimmy or Starbuck, and either one of us will get that, and we'll try to read your emails on the air and that kind of thing. So, thank you again for listening. Can we go now?
Yeah, we can go. I gotta get going anyway. I hear somebody.
You hear somebody?
I heard somebody off in the distance calling for help. I think I should. You just make sure they're okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Well, hey, it sounds like there might be stuff going on, folks. So thanks so much for listening. You have a wonderful rest of your week and be good to each other. And here's good afternoon, good evening, good night from See Last Issue.
See you guys.
Bye.